All right, what's going on, everybody? My name is Peter Del Tondo, and we are here for the daily creative challenges here in Adobe XD. And we're going to go over a fun additional animation prototyping tool today. We're going to be talking about anchor links and how to use that in your prototypes. So let's jump in and let's take a look at how this is going to go. If you are new to the challenge, make sure that you come on over to behance.net/challenge/XD, and that will allow you to come here, click, tap, take the challenge up top, and that'll send you a reminder every day to participate in these challenges. And you can come down here each day and you'll see these get unlocked each morning. And come on down, click Get Started. That'll allow you to download that starter file that we have. And then you can click Watch Video to tune in later. Or if you've missed one of the challenges, you can tune in and rewatch that afterwards. So really cool, and have some fun. And you can always browse down here. You'll see some past challenges for myself and other folks that host this series. And it's just really great. Anytime you want to come practice, this is such a go-to place to find some prompts to do some cool design work and level up. Also, make sure that you come in and join the community chat. Right over here, you're going to want to click this, and that will take you over to Discord. And in here, you'll be able to see the plethora of channels that you have available to you. And it's awesome. I mean, there's so much stuff here if you want to get pro tips, portfolio reviews. I see a new channel called Max Portfolio Reviews. Wonder what that could be. That might be fun to see if you can get some of your work showcased there, I'm going to assume. But come on in here each day, plop your current challenge into the current challenge channel. And so this is where myself and the other mentors, we're going to be looking for your projects here, and we'll do some feedback and review sessions. I'll be doing a stream this evening, and follow me on my Behance, behance.net/Peter Altondo. I'll go live, and we'll go through some of the projects together and give you some feedback and critique. So some really cool stuff. I see Laura in the channel. I've really been enjoying your projects. I know Dee has been in there every night on the streams. And it's just fun seeing people participate. And it's really cool when I get to see your work improve after that critique. It makes it all worth it. So really, really cool stuff. And Oriana, nice to see you today. Thanks for tuning in as well. Let's jump right into some stuff. So today we are talking about anchor links, and we're going to design an FAQ section for a website, or might even change that. Might do kind of like a Word document editor, but we want to focus on having a pin navigation on the side, and then having anchor links to snap to different areas on the screen on the right. So there's a couple of key features that we need to set up in our file in order to do this successfully, and I'm going to walk you through that today. So if we come down here, just taking a look at some inspiration, I like the idea of the FAQ site. I might make it more complicated on myself and do something else today. But the idea here is that we just have this simple navigation here on the left, and then we've got answers on the right-hand side. We don't need to do anything super fancy. This works really, really well. And just so you can see a couple of examples of what that might look like over here. So let's come in, let's set up an artboard. I'm going to hit A, and I'm going to come over here to desktop, and I'll grab a nice little 1920 by 1080 board, and let's set this up. So I know I'm going to need a couple of things. And again, I might set this up to be more of like a text editor type application. So let's say I want to design something kind of in a dark UI. I might come over here and I'm going to set up my left side nav. I don't know exactly how wide I want that to be yet, but let's grab something kind of in these kind of purpley tones here. Something like that works for me. And then I want to set up, say, like a writing area over here. And I still want that. I'm actually going to bring both of these up to be a little bit darker. Cool. And then maybe we could either just do a divider line. That would be really easy. Or maybe what I'll do is I'll come in and we might even make this side just a hair darker. And I don't know why I'm getting that weird line, but that should go away. Okay, cool. I don't know why that's showing in some resolutions. Interesting, maybe a little buggy, but nonetheless, I've got my setup here, and I want to start setting up some files. So I might set up a little bit of a file tree over here, and I could do my own FAQ or knowledge base or whatnot over on this side. And let's see, I'm going to ramp up my text sizes. I'm going to make sure that this text is legible. So let's make this, we'll go white. I can type. Let's type first. All right, there we go. And we'll come in here. I want this to be white. And let's see. I used to use IA Writer all the time, so I'm just going to kind of utilize that as a base here. Again, let's crank this up in size. I might go like 32, and I'm just going to treat this as though this is the logo up in the top. So I'm going to have that sit 24 and maybe 24. All right, so that is my logo up top here. And then maybe I want to set up like a folder structure. So I'm going to bring this down. Let's go down to like, say, 16. And now I might set up some categories. So I might have like, let's do like an employee handbook. Something like that would be cool. So we'll set that up here. And then let's see, I want to start branching that down. So that's going to be maybe my top level. Maybe I will come in here and let's use our Nucleo icons. And there's a link to this in the starter file. Pretty violent start to our icons for the day, but let's jump in here. Let's go 24 glyph, do arrow, and something like this will work. Maybe because we're utilizing the darker background, something a little lighter might be clean here. So I'll play around, might like tinker and find the right style that I like. Maybe something like this, a little bit smaller. We could go down a rabbit hole picking these, that's for sure. But for now, we're going to call this good. I'm going to grab this guy right here, make that white. And maybe I'll move this over to this side. Oh, I lied. I like it better over here. All right, so we'll set this up. Just move that off to the side. And I might shrink that down a little bit. It feels just a little large. All right, so I've got my employee handbook over here. Bring that back. All right, and now, no, I lied. You're just seeing the raw process. Like, I like it, I don't like it. I'm going to work with it over here. I really don't like the icon. That's what it is. It's driving me nuts. So I'm going to move this little ditty over to here. We're going to bring that down in size. And then I think I like that better. Okay, so that's looking good. So we've got our employee handbook, and then maybe in here we want to have a drop down for sections. So I'm going to bring this down. I want to indent this over. I might even set up, we could do a line down here. And let's do white. I want to add some dashes. And then I might just bring this down in opacity just so we get a little something subtle here, and it kind of grounds everything. And then I'm going to bring this down a little bit more. All right, and we could do something like this. So this could be like new hire guide or new hire day one. We could come down and we'll just keep going down the list here. I'm going to do a quick little repeat grid. And let's set the spacing in there to 16 for now. I'm going to ungroup that. And we'll just apply a couple of sections. So we might have something in here that says, let's see, new hire, maybe company logins. We should have, kind of want to pull up ours in a different window. That would have been a good idea. But let's see, company logins. Let's do things like attendance, holidays, and PTO. We'll do things like code of conduct. Let's see what else. Design systems guidelines, branding process. Let's do UI UX process, um, client communications. I don't know. I'm just making up a couple of things. So really quickly, let's shrink that a little bit. So we've kind of got this set up now. And we could have subsections in these as well, where maybe some of these expand. We can do a lot of cool things with this. But we're just kind of setting up some of that structure. So what I want to do here is I want to start now grouping this whole section so that way this is always going to stay where it's at. And as I look at this, let's see, this will work. I'm just going to grab all of this. I'm going to hit Command or Control G, I think is what I hit. It's like habit. I forget what the key is. And we are going to click this button here, fix position when scrolling. And what this is going to do is when we then prototype, because we are going to make this artboard quite a bit larger, is that is going to fix position and it will always be that height, or excuse me, it will always show this in that spot no matter what. And then we could come down here. Let's just add a couple of things inside of this group. So I'm going to add a little circle. Let's do like 32. And then I can come over to my plugins. I'll say user profile, fill with user image. Feel like we need like holding music, like elevator music or something. I don't know why this is taking so long. I'm going to stop that because that's clearly having an issue. But here, let's just do headshot. I'm looking through Adobe stock and this guy looks happy. You know what? I'm going to go with him. All right, so I now have my avatar and we could put something down here at the bottom and we could just say, you know, my account, or we could do something along those lines. Perfect. All right, so nice and clean. We could add additional stuff down there, log out, all the things. But anyways, that just kind of helps ground this a little bit. And as I look at this, I would later give this some more space, probably enlarge some of the type. But for the purposes of today, let's rock and roll. All right, so we've got our employee handbook. Now over here on the side, I want to start setting this up. So I'll do unfold employee handbook. We're going to make this nice and large here. So I'm going to center that text. I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to set up a little bit of kind of a grid area that I want. So let's go maybe go like 740 pixels wide. And I want to keep everything that I'm writing within that. I kind of like that as it's a little bit of a grid structure. So I'm going to delete that afterwards. I'm going to just set this to a color that I'll be able to still see that white text on top of it. And then we'll delete it after. All right, so let's knock this up. Let's go to like maybe something. Okay. It was the most delayed error ever. All right, so we've got this here. Put this up top. So we've got our employee handbook, and then let's start setting up some kind of chapters or categories or whatnot. So we'll bring this down a little bit, and we will do new hire day one. Make sure these are all set up correctly. There we go. And we will make this a bit smaller so that way it's not so overwhelming. I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Let's go to 56. Perfect. All right, so we've got our new hire day one, and then I'm going to throw in some text with this. And I'm going to change this to be a text block. And then I want to fill it. And now I'm going to do something that I'm going to tell all of you never to do. And that is that I'm going to lorem ipsum this because I'm going to fill it with some text. But I would go back afterwards and update this to actually show some real context. Like I would go copy stuff from our team's employee handbook. But for the purposes of this today, I just want to fill this with text and go from there. And with period, include line breaks. I'm good with that. Okay, so we're gonna do that, except I want to bring the size down. I want this to be regular. So let's try that again. Fill text. Great. So now we've got a section here. I also want to change my line height. Let's space that out. It just doesn't feel good. Stick it right there. All right, so we've got our section. I'm going to group this, and then I'm going to start duplicating this down, and we are going to create some additional sections here. So in this, let's now do our company logins. And maybe this one will expand. Let's have this be a longer section. Again, we'll fill that with some text. And we're just going to keep going through this process just for the purposes of this exercise. Let's see, we've got attendance. D, this is actually working for something you're doing now, then great. This is perfect timing. I'm so glad. So we'll just, again, I'm trying to vary this. I don't, even though I'm using lorem ipsum, I don't want my design to look the same. I want the information to be a little bit different. So again, don't do what I'm doing right now. Fill this in with real text, but I've got like 8 minutes left, so I'm going to do it. Um, and we'll just get this a little varied. Okay, so we've got that. We've got, let's see, coming up next, attendance. We've got holidays and PTO. Make that one a bit longer. Perfect. And let's do just like two more, and then we can kind of show how this works. So we've got holidays and PTO, code of conduct. And I'm going to make this one really long because I want to have some nice actual movement in this illustration or in this animation concept. So, oh, we can do all kinds of different ones. That's cool. All right, so we've got code of conduct. We will do one last item here, and that is going to be design systems guidelines. Okay. Design systems guidelines. And you know what we can even do with this one is we could come in and we could actually just drop in like some actual graphics into this. So maybe what I'll do is I'm going to do something like this. That didn't work as I wanted. Let's grab this, be a little bit bigger. All right. Something along those lines. We'll duplicate that once more. And we'll just fill this with some images just for the heck of it. Surfing. Sure, why not? Let's do surfing. All right, we'll apply those. And so that's just showing we can put anything in here. That's all I'm really trying to convey to everybody. And that'll work. So I'm going to delete this. We've now got everything on our system in the background. And now we've got this pin. Remember, this is really important to fix this position when scrolling. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to prototype mode. Come back over here. And I'm going to start linking things up. So I'm going to click directly on Employee Handbook. And I am going to link that to this section here. Now, this is kind of already recognized. Adobe Sensei, the AI behind all of this cool stuff that we get to see here in XD, it recognized that I wasn't just linking it to another screen, but to a section of the screen. So it actually already set some stuff up, and it said, I want this to be a tap trigger. It's going to scroll to this, so you can see the different options that we have here. And then it's got that destination established. Now, one thing that's really important to do, and I find works kind of best, is just to give these things a little bit of an offset. So we see here, I've got, I'm going to move everything up a hair just so that the math on this works a little bit cleaner. I'm going to move this up to 200. Actually, let's go up to 150 for now. So what I want to do here is I want to add a Y offset, and I'm just going to do minus 150. What I like about that is then it won't snap it right to the edge of the top, but it's going to leave a little bit of room there. So that way it doesn't feel like we're squishing the roof every single time. I want it to give us that little bit of extra space. And so now all I have to do is I can come in here, I can pick how slow or quickly this moves. I'm going to slow these down a little bit. Again, we might see what is going to be best. I'm going to move it to zero point 0.4 seconds just so we can see that transition. It doesn't feel quite as quick and snappy. But we'll come over here and I'm going to do new hire. That'll go to this section. Let's see, company logins. That'll take us right here. And it's showing you the space. So it's showing you that really it's going to take the top of the page to right here on this line, which I think is going to look really nice. So let's go down now to attendance. Let's do holidays and PTO. It's getting really tiny, but we'll see code of conduct. What else do we have? Design system guidelines. All right. So we can see we've kind of now got this like little web of wires that are starting to expand out and show us the destinations where all of this is going. Now let's see, all of this is going to be grouped in, and I'm going to show you, actually, let's do this intentionally first, how this will work if this is not inside that group. So if we noticed, this is showing, this whole section is fixing that position on scroll. However, if I go to prototype mode and those items aren't grouped right, you see how this is now moving? So I can scroll, but that item is now floating as well. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that these items are a part of that group. They're not going anywhere. And then when we scroll through, it's going to be a nice, smooth, and seamless transition. So I've got this really clean and minimalistic dark UI text editor. I would totally use an app like this. I have in the past. And we can take a look here. So I've got scroll. I can come in here. I can grab this on the side. I can easily scroll. It's pinning my navigation. And I'd probably even space these things out even further as I look at it. That would probably be a good idea. But I've got my menu over here on the side. And again, this is pinning to the side. I don't have to worry about it. Everything's kind of independent of each other. We'll be doing another lesson on some stuff with that and getting even more complex with up, down, side to side, pinned, not pinned, all the crazy tricks. So I think that might be tomorrow or Friday. Stick around for that one. But here we can just quickly click on all of these different items and it's going to move us down. And I'll jump down a couple of sections to holidays and PTO, code of conduct, design systems, etc. And so lots of cool things that we could do. And as I look at this, it almost causes a little confusion up at the top here because we can see the other section. So what I'm thinking I might do is I might come up here at the top. I'm going to set this to 150 in height. And I'm actually going to create a gradient. And maybe I'll have it go, I want to go from the same color to the same color. But on this bottom side, I'm just going to set this opacity to 0. So it's going to give us a little bit of a fade. And then I'm going to fix that position. So now, when I come back here, and when we scroll, that didn't work. Why is that not working? Oh, it's lower on the totem pole. It's got to be up at the top. Okay, so fixed position, make sure it's your top layer. And now you see how it gives a little bit of a fade up here. And it just helps emphasize that those things are kind of fading off into the distance. So now when I click on these sections, it's really helping me to kind of distinguish that that other section is above. And again, this is where I would probably like double or triple the space between some of these areas. And that'll help separate them out as well. And again, I'm using lorem ipsum, so it all looks the same and it's hurting my design. If I had real copy in here, it would be a lot easier to track and follow, and your eye doesn't get caught up on all the similarities. So don't do what I did. Use real copy. Don't use lorem ipsum, but really, really cool. All right. And Michael was asking, how do I upload your video, your prototype to Behance or whatnot? Go in, add a new project to Behance, drop the file directly into Discord, and we'll take a look at that and we can review that as well. You can also come up here and you can click the record button, and this will record it directly on your device. If you have any issues with that, you can also use like OBS, which is what I'm streaming on. It's a free tool, QuickTime, etc. Lots of cool stuff to check out. So anyways, I'm really excited to see what everybody does with this challenge. Upload that video. Let me see the scroll. Let me see how this is working. And utilize a concept here that you really like. Again, I always talk about build something that you are passionate about and have fun with. And I'm excited to see what everybody does. Make sure to stick around for Kyle next, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.